Hello everyone and welcome to another video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Emma, I'm an illustrator based in Sheffield and these are my daily-ish vlogs. Now if you watched yesterday's video, you'd know that I was planning, and I still am planning, to get my big sketchbook out and do some messy sketches. Unfortunately, I've woken up this morning with vertigo. If you don't know what vertigo is, if you've never had vertigo, it's not a fear of heights, that's not what I'm talking about. It's like an inner ear thing. And I get it every now and then, but it feels like whenever I move, it feels like the room is on a turntable. So when I move, the room spins and it doesn't necessarily stop instantly when I stop. It's all to do with like the levels in your inner ear, I think. But basically, every time I bend down or move my head, the room feels like it's on an ice rink and is spinning around me, which isn't great. And I had it just about under control, and then I decided to go in the shower and wash my hair, because that was a great idea. But that, all of the kind of washing and rinsing and moving around that you do in the shower it's jiggled everything around in my head, and basically now I feel seasick. I feel travel sick now. So I think what is in order first today is sitting down and not moving for about an hour, because I think the way that vertigo works, I'm not a doctor, don't listen to me for medical advice, go to your doctor, but I think the way some vertigo works, it's like calcium deposits in your inner ear. They get kind of sloshed around. Gross, I know. But your inner ear, as far as I can gather, is like a spirit level, and that's what keeps you upright. And when there's things in that spirit level, it messes up your perception of what's up and what's down and what's left and what's right. And that's why you feel dizzy. Even though the room isn't moving round, your brain interprets it as moving round. And it's that movement that's making me feel a bit travel sick, a bit seasick. So I think the best course of action is to stop moving so much and just let my inner ear settle. Because it was all right this morning when I was having my breakfast. I was a bit dizzy when I first got up. Then I had my breakfast, sat still for a little while, and it was fine. Then I went into the shower, it's jiggled everything up again. And I think I just need to sit and be still for a little while, which is a shame because I wanted to get my big sketchbook out. And having my big sketchbook out on my desk involves me getting all of my materials out and leaning over my desk and like big movements. But I think for the time being, while my ears are still sorting themselves out after I've been in the shower, I think I need to not be bending over my desk, because bending over my desk will move my head and then that'll just make everything feel worse. So, first course of action for today, I'm going to take my iPad downstairs, I'm going to take my sketchbook downstairs, and I'm going to do something that I do when I either don't want to go out but I still want to draw, or I can't go out like today but I still want to draw. And that is drawing from films. The great thing about drawing from films, especially familiar ones to you, is that you've already got an idea of where the story's going, so you don't need to pay attention to it. So I have a tendency to put things on like Harry Potter, stuff that I've watched a lot of. I know where the story's going. I don't really need to look too much at it. Hello, sweet boy. I don't really need to look too much at it. The characters are familiar to me. Also, what's good is that it moves quickly. And the thing you do you, but my tip for when you're drawing from TV and when you're drawing from films is don't be tempted to pause. The great thing is the scenes move by so quickly that it's like drawing from life, because life moves by quickly. If you ever drew in a cafe or at a train station or in the car, hello. Cars and people and vehicles move by quickly and you can't still pause real life. So my tip would be don't do it from a film. But if you do it from a film that's familiar enough, you won't feel tempted to stop drawing to pay attention to the programme, to the storyline, because you already know what's going on and you can kind of get engrossed in the drawing side of it. So that's what I'm going to do. But before I do that, hello Rolly, are you helping? Yes, you are. I'm going to just, oh, you got an itchy back? You've got an itchy back. Should I scratch it? That better? That better? Boop. Yeah, before I go down and do that, I'm just going to change up some of the pencils that are in my pencil roll, because some of them are pretty small, and I did buy replacements for some of my colours. So I've got an orange glaze here, which can replace that. So I tend to use polychromos pencils just because they're a nice balance between vibrant colour and affordability. So I recently bought a Caran d'Ache Luminance. I used to buy Caran d'Ache Luminance, but they retail at about £4 a pencil, which is quite a lot. And I can get these, usually Jackson's do offers, they often do offers on the Faber-Castells, which includes the polychromos, because that's their brand, and I can get them for under £2 usually, but sometimes they're a bit more, it depends what the offer is. But I go through pencils quite quickly, so I like to have a fairly affordable brand. Right, Rolly, should we see what colours we've got in here? Shall we see? Shall we see? Shall we see? I need a pink. Do I have a pink? Made myself a mint tea to hopefully settle my stomach. So now let's choose a film to watch. Okay, it took me a while to decide, but I think Jaws. I was going to go for another Harry Potter, but I've literally just watched them and sketched them. So Jaws it is. Rolly is very excited. It's his first time ever watching Jaws. But you better open your eyes, kid, you're going to miss it. Okay, so I'm going to pop you on the tripod overhead and pop you on a time lapse, and you can join me as I sketch. Even sitting back like that makes me feel so dizzy. I'm going to get my outside sketchbook, so my observational sketchbook, which is an A5 sketchbook, and I often get asked what sketchbooks I use. I use the cheapest ones I can find, and the cheapest ones I can find actually at the moment are from Jackson's. You might have noticed in the video description, or if you've watched me before, I do have an affiliate link with Jackson's. I'm not paid to use them. They haven't approached me and given me a link and all this kind of stuff. I was already a customer of Jackson's art, and I saw they had an affiliate link, so I thought it was worth signing up. So the way it works is, if you buy something after clicking my link, I get, I think it's like 5% back from every order that is placed after clicking my link. And if it's your very first Jackson's order, if you buy something after clicking my link, they'll give you 10% off your first order. So that's always nice, but there's no obligation. But I use the Jackson Studio sketchbooks. The paper in them is better than the sketchbooks I was using before from Hobbycraft, because Hobbycraft's sketchbooks is what I used to use, and then suddenly they changed their paper to being like it's more absorbent, like more absorbent cartridge paper type paper, which I don't mind, because my sketchbooks, literally I just use the cheapest possible, so I don't feel too precious about them. But it was just a bonus that the paper in the Jackson's sketchbooks were just a bit thicker, and it can deal with water and watercolour and stuff as well without seeping through to the other side. They're not watercolour sketchbooks, they're just normal bog standard sketchbooks, but they can deal with quite a bit of moisture, I found. But anyway, I'm going to stop procrastinating. I'm going to have to get up now and risk dizziness, and I'm going to put you overhead and let's get drawing. like nearly halfway through the film, and I'm going to stop for some lunch, but I thought it's worth talking about the process of your sketching, because definitely one thing I used to do, and I'm sure some people watching this do it as well. I used to get so disheartened when my first sketches turned out not how I expected. And I'm going to just show you, I know you've just seen it, but compare the first page that I've done to the last page that I've done. Bearing in mind, these are very quick sketches. I haven't paused the film. I'm just drawing them as I see them. Yeah, so let me turn you around. I'll show you side by side the first page and the last page so far that I've drawn. So this is it. And you'll notice the first page is very not much, like outlines, people not really looking too much like people, half a face, half glasses. You know, not completed faces. And once upon a time, or maybe just like, see there's like one tiny little face there which didn't ever emerge into anything because I never saw that person again. Once upon a time I would have stopped here and thought, this is rubbish, I can't draw, therefore I'm going to stop. But remember, and if you're new to the channel, you might not have heard me say this, but if you are not new to the channel, you will definitely have heard me say this. I like to think of sketches and sketching as making pancakes. And if you've ever made pancakes, you'll know that your first pancakes never really look like pancakes. But if you ever want to get to the point where you're making delicious pancakes, so these are my final sketches so far before lunch, and they've just become a lot more, yes, they're still scribbly, yes, some of them aren't finished, but the majority of them look a bit more consistent. So the characters are a bit more consistent. I'm starting to pick up on things that I can carry on from one character to another. They're a bit more confident, so the line work's a bit more, a bit darker. So if you compare it to this one, I'm a bit more hesitant to start. My last page, so it went from that one to this one, so far is the most confident out of the bunch. And there is a definite improvement in my drawing. It's not finished drawings, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to practice my sketching. But basically, these are my first pancakes. And if you've ever made pancakes, you'll know that your first pancakes don't turn out like pancakes, but they're important insofar as your first pancakes are all about finding whether the pan's the right temperature, whether your consistency is too thick, whether, you know, there's enough butter in the pan, whether it's hot enough, cold enough, you know, whatever. If you ever want to get to the delicious pancakes at the end, the ones that look like pancakes, the ones that aren't burnt on the outside and raw in the middle, you need to go through the process of accepting your first pancakes and moving on from them. Otherwise, you'll never get to the delicious pancakes. If you're making pancakes and you stop when your first pancake won't flip or is raw in the middle, then you'll never ever, 100% never get cooked pancakes. all you'll ever have experienced are slightly raw pancakes that won't flip in the pan. But if you stick with it and you keep going, you eventually get your eye in, you learn that the pan's the right temperature, you learn to get the mix to the right consistency, add a bit more milk or whatever. And it's the same with drawing. If you stopped when you are first starting to draw, you'll never ever get past this stage. And your only experience of your drawing will be these loose scribbles, which are fine. But if you definitely want to improve your drawing, you need to get past these first bad pancakes. And you need to know that these first sketches are important. They're important in terms of getting your eye in. They're important in terms of warming up your muscles in your hand, and your hand-eye coordination all kind of settled. And you need to accept these if you're ever going to get past the initial kind of messiness, the initial pancakes. So That's my analogy. And I think it's one that's really helped me. And every time I pick up my pencil and my sketchbook, I always have a few drawings at the beginning that don't turn out how I expect, but now I expect to see those unexpected drawings, and I see it as part of the process of warming up my creative muscles, my hands muscles, my hand-eye coordination, so then I can start to develop something that's a bit more consistent, a bit more confident. But all of that talk about pancakes has made me even hungrier, so I'm going to pause for a second and get some lunch. Okay, lunch was had, which was very nice. Update on the vertigo situation is it's mostly all right now. I don't feel motion sick anymore, but sometimes it takes me by surprise. So I went to pick up Rolly before and I forgot I had vertigo, and I nearly fell over with him, which wasn't good. But as long as I don't move too much, I'm all right. So let's finish the rest of this film and see how much drawing we get done. So it's amazing how much sketching you can actually get done without leaving the house. So if, I know I've done a video on this before, but it is worth mentioning again. If you're feeling ill like I have today, or if you can't leave the house for whatever reason, you're waiting in for a package, you've got mobility issues, whatever it is, drawing from films is a really good way to get your sketchbook practice. But like I said before, one thing to bear in mind is try not to pause the telly, because I find if you pause it, you've got far too much time to noodle over one particular image and get really caught up in the detail. Like you can see on a lot of these sketches, a lot of them were just rough, scribbly. That has all been a good way of training my brain to observe what's there. The more I did it, the more I was able to get more useful information saved in my brain. And you might be looking at these going, well, they're all a bit scribbly. And yeah, they are. It's my sketchbook. It's practice. But the more you practice drawing what you can see and trying not to get caught up on like being worried about the results, the more your brain, if you allow it the time and the space to, the more your brain and your hand-eye coordination and stuff will work together to get more information down from what you're seeing. And you'll realise you don't actually need to spend a long time on things to be able to practice saving all that information and working on it with a bit more time. But while my vertigo is kind of leveling out, I'm going to go and start thinking about what I'm going to have for dinner. So thank you for joining me today, and this is where I'm going to leave this video, and I'm going to catch you in the next one. So until then, bye.